What about now?
Yeah, you can see it now.
All right. So let's get started. So basically, this will be the pre-scene for November and your February exams. Okay. The thing is, previously we used to have one new pre-scene for every exam, but now they have changed the policy, and it's been almost 2 years now. Maybe a lot of you are already aware. Why I'm telling you that is not that to think if I don't write in November, I'll go for February, but to motivate you to go for November itself. Many times, what is happening is students, what they think, okay, is the same free scene, the next time I'll attempt, and they have been postponing is for years. Okay, therefore, I usually motivate you to book the exam itself, so you have a deadline to work on it. Sometimes, if there is an emergency and everything, is totally understandable. Okay, so the company name is Rotomyne. Basically, it's something related to mining, so they might have put this name, or in short, we can say RM also to remember. So from now, you are working for Rotomyne. Maybe you're working for a lot of different companies in the real world, but when you sit for studying, you should think like Rotomyne is my company. Take it as a first person, because why I'm saying as a first person, that will reflect in your writing. If you're writing an answer, let's say you're suggesting a financial strategy, you're talking about the risk, you should not say Rotomine should do this, you can say we should do this. You're getting the point. And always try to take the ownership, try to take it personal, so the way you're answering and everything will also improve. Are you getting the point? Next is a context statement. So as we all know, there have been so many issues going on globally. You know, from the time of pandemic, we have COVID. Then currently there is a lot of war going on. So a lot of geopolitical issues. As we know that CIMA is trying to, as they have written here, while aiming to reflect real life, they are aiming for a real life scenario. But imagine some student is in a situation where in their country the situation is not stable, so they should not consider writing that okay, uh, we should follow this strategy. We should assume that everything is going good and answer in a normal scenario. Don't consider any special events, one-off events. Getting the point? For example, during COVID, a lot of companies were making redundancies. They are trying to cut cost. It is all about cutting cost. But now they want to grow. Maybe they are more keen on risk management now, but still they need to think in a different way. Okay, so this context statement is very important. Is that clear? Yes, no, anybody?
Yeah, yes, Misbah.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. So usually, what is pre-scene? Again, I mean, just starting with the basics, so it will give you an idea. Basically, pre-scene is something which they want to give you an idea about. Ironically, they don't want to give you complete idea. They'll give you a lot of limited information here. They would have given you something which is 100 pages also. That would have made the work easier. But they want to test you on certain thing which just come suddenly. So therefore, the exam questions are also known as unseen. Some people might refer to it unseen. What was your unseen? They might ask. So they are referring to the exam questions. This is pre-seen. An exam question is unseen. Unseen means you'll just see during the exam day. Technically, they'll keep lot of gaps. For example, dividends. Dividends will know only for this year. I mean the immediate year. You cannot say the immediate for last 2 years, 3 years. You cannot see the dividends, and they'll give lot of gaps. So one of the reason why they give gap is They want to test you on that question. And secondly, it might be also they want to keep it short. In fact, this pre-scene, if you see, it's only 22 pages. On average, the pre-scene is around 26 to 28 pages. So they have kept it short, or maybe they are just reducing the pages, which is in a way good for us to read, but at the same time, the information is limited. So what will be our strategy when the information is limited? That is to find similar companies. I'll be also doing my research. I mean, our research is already in the way. We'll have our industry analysis ready in maybe 1 or 2 weeks time. But at the same time, I also share some website, and you also do some research. And Divesh also shared something on the group that's also very useful. So go through a similar company. Many times I have seen what CIMA pre-seen is something similar to a real company. In fact, one individual company can reflect 60 to 70% of the pre-scene. So we can assume and take certain points from there. Wherever there is a gap, we can go and refer to that company. Okay. So when you're sitting at the strategic level means you are at the top. Whatever decisions you will make will impact the entire organization. You're working with the board of directors. You will be soon a member of board of directors. You'll be working at the highest position. You're already part of that team. So just internally focus doesn't work. If some of you have given management case study, will understand. In management case study, they won't ask you so many questions about external factors. But when it comes to strategy, internal factors are important. However, there is more importance given to external factors. Why? Because you are driving the company. You're driving the company. You have to understand what are the external factors which will impact the entire organization. Okay. Let me give you an example.
Misbah,
How?
sorry, we could not hear last few seconds.
So
Not
I'll
sure
repeat.
it's yeah.
So Sham, what I was saying is, we need to do some industry research. We need to find a similar companies in the same industry to compare. Then only we can have a better idea. Because if we are comparing companies without knowing the industry, I think there was some network issue. Am I able to? Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah,
Let
yeah,
me
sure.
change my
Yes,
position
Misbah,
once.
can hear.
Sorry about that. So sorry. There is something bad today from the start. Yeah. So what I was saying is, banks are geared up to 90% of the have a different strategy. I need to. One second. Sorry, if you're saying something.
Uh, cannot hear anything.
One
That's
second,
all.
one second. I'm just
Yeah.
switching the network. Give me
Okay.
one. Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes, you.
Okay, I think this way it will work. Now I'm trying to use two different networks. Okay, so did you understood the example?
That was Misbah. We lost you in between.
Okay, okay. Sorry,
So
sorry.
I
I'll
could hear
repeat.
you
No
till
problem.
where you mentioned to look for companies in the similar industry, right, in the real world.
Got it.
And yeah,
So basically, we have to compare industry in the companies in the same industry. Reason being, what will happen? What is a normal norm? A common thing in one industry will be totally different when we go to different industry. Like banks are geared up to 90%. That means they have 90% debt in their capital structure. But if you compare that to the capital structure theories, what we studied in F3, they say anything up to 50% is good. Then it becomes super risky, so they don't want to take that thing. But in banks it's normal, and there may be certain industries where even up to 50% is considered very risky. So you don't need to generalize things. Same thing goes in dealing with the stakeholders. For example, in FMCG, usually credit, giving 60 days 90 days credit is normal. But if it is the case with jewelry and expensive stuff, they won't give 90 days credit. So things will change according to the industry. Again, this is very practical. If you're applying for a role or a CFO in a particular industry, you have experience, it becomes easier. In fact, the requirement will say, let's say if they're asking 15 years of experience, 12 years of experience, they'll say at least 5 years in the same industry. Why do they say that? Because they want you to have some understanding of the industry as well, or we can say a decent understanding. Not an industry expert, but you should understand. Now you all will be CIMA qualified, and I think all of you are working, right, in different industries. So the way you will use knowledge will be different. Your experience will be different. Therefore, same thing applies here. We need to have a decent knowledge of the industry. So they are not expecting you to be industry expert, but industry analysis is important. Clear there with that point? So part of this studies is also research. At least I would say 10% work will be on research. Is that clear?
Yes, Miss.
And how to do the research? We have some industry analysis given in the contents itself. If you see, we have lithium mining, hard rocks, that entire 4 points, hard rock mining, traditional brine minings, and all other two as well, they have given industry analysis. However, we are not limited to that, because that itself is not enough. So we'll go beyond that and do some extra research. By the way, we'll be doing an entire class, maybe one session or two, just discussing on the industry analysis. Okay. Now coming back to the pre-scene. So what it includes, usually in the introduction, we'll be starting with here. So what is your role, what you do and everything. Then little bit of industry. Industry plays a very important role. So they start with that. Then the company's background. So a lot of things will be theoretical. You're not expected to learn the things, but you should have an idea, especially when we'll be discussing the board of directors. It is very important to know. When we'll be discussing about the principal risk, it's very important to know. Financial statements, yes, you need to remember some of the things. The same thing applies with the share price. And finally, they will be concluding the pre-scene with the news stories. In fact, it's better that we go through that page before we just start. So very small introduction. So this will include what is your role. We'll come back and start, but I'm just showing you what is your role, what is our industry. Like for example, your role is a senior manager in finance function. So we need to know from CIMA perspective, what is senior manager. I have seen people, they are so-called senior manager, but they are just doing operational level jobs. And companies have given them the tag of senior, especially in the banking. Maybe that is just to massage their ego. They don't want to pay them responsibilities, give them responsibility or pay them higher, but just they are giving the role. But according to CIMA, senior manager is something who is reporting to the board, who is a part of a strategic team. So here it is something serious. All right. So we'll come to that. Then uh, going forward, it is starting with the industry. This is one of the very hot topic. In fact, I was very excited to see this pre-scene because it will also keep me on toes. I have to also do some research and understand, so it will be a good part because usually the pre-scene can be kind of very normal, but this is something which is not usually seen because the mining and everything happens in a remote areas, right? Then the use of lithium. In fact, a lot of geopolitical issues are relevant to this. Yes, Divesh, you want to say something?
Are you sharing screen or because
You
I
can't see
can't
your
see
screen?
any? No, I can just see your name like just K. That's why like
What
just
about others?
disturbing you. Sorry for that.
No problem.
No, Misbah, I
It's
can
showing
see your
index.
screen. Okay, I can see your screen, Misbah. You are sharing the case study pre-scene, right?
Yeah.
You
Yes,
are on the
yes.
I
page
can see.
Let me
two.
just come out and join again. I don't know. I just disconnect. Let me. Oh yeah, now I can see.
Uh,
Okay, just loading. I'm on that pie chart.
Okay.
yeah, page 3.
Yes, now I can see you. Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry to disturb.
So this is the use of lithium, how the industry works. So you should try to, I will not try, make sure that you read at least once. And you guys are lucky that pre-scene is just 22 pages. And in that technically it's just 20 because we have introduction and a lot of pages are just half pages. Then how the mining works. We'll try to use a lot of videos also. And I'll be sharing that also with you so you can have some practical idea. Our primary aim, we need to clear the exam obviously, but at the same time we need to have an idea. Maybe if tomorrow you're applying in this industry, you should know that okay, I have some idea about it. And this pre-scene should change your perspective how you look at the industry. So once you have done research for this, the next immediate thing what you will do after exam is what you'll do, you'll go to your own company, you'll see which industry I'm working on, what industry it is classified as, because usually we are just limited to our job. In fact, a lot of students I have seen, they don't even understand how their job is actually contributing to the total working of the organization. Trust me, if you want to go and grow, if you want to go big and grow in your organization, you need to understand what role you are playing in the industry, what role your company is playing in the industry, and what is your role in the organization. Role as in, I'm not just saying that I'm auditor, I'm a FP&A. No. What value you're actually adding? You're a part of a big machinery, right? So what is your specific role? So if you understand how your part is contributing to better working of the machinery, then you can work in efficiently. For example, you are just reporting something. So you should know. Suppose if you are reporting something to me, so I should know how. Sorry, you should know how your information will be uh, required by me, right? How I will again report to other people. Reporting as in maybe passing on to other people. So the way you communicate will change. If you just think from a very small perspective, just your role is difficult. But if you have an integrated view, it will become easier. This is a very good, you know, lesson, corporate lesson, I would say, because it's very common. Maybe you have some people, some of you are working at a managerial level, so you might have some people working under you. So you'll understand this thing, right? You can disagree, we can discuss on that. It's just my point of view, right, Sham? And we have Mr. Fahim. You have been working, from so many years. Do you guys agree with that point, or you have a different perspective?
Well, I'm agree for this.
Misbah, agree with you.
Thanks. So please make sure we do that in our answers also and the real world also. We should not just limit ourselves to this case study. Definitely we'll pass this. On the top of that, we need to strategic level and working at. I mean, it's not bad to be in operation, but we need to grow. Okay. So as soon as you see this picture, automatically one thing comes in the mind is okay, this is something which is affecting the environment. So by default, before reading itself, we guys can understand, okay, environmental related we need to look at the cost and benefit analysis. However, nowadays there have been a lot of pressure at the environmental aspect. Environmental aspect, as in uh, directly there won't be much cost, but indirect on the longer term, they also things are part of industry. So if we go down again industry, then spot versus future markets. We'll just come to that. Okay, one more thing we need to say is here transaction is very important. What we have discussed in financial risk management, no, that we need to revisit again. Okay, we'll try to look from a practical perspective. So whenever we are doing something, let's say we are doing E3, we are doing P3, F3, like some of the F3 we are kind of finished. It's not like we'll not touch it back. We have to go back and forth because everything we need to revise, we need to relate, and some things we might need to understand again from a different perspective. Okay. Then moving on, we have an introduction about Rotomyne. It is our company, or you can say my company. When you're answering this, my company, when it was founded, how it worked. This thing also is very important. For example, like it started in 1950s. 1950s means what? It has already completed 75 years in business. So usually companies who are there and working for so long, they are considered as a matured business. So in matured business, the way they work is obviously different if you compare to startup. We'll come back to this topic. So all of these things, especially when it comes to your own company, Rotomyne, you need to know the facts. You need to know the facts because in exams, if there is one question, we have number of correct answers for one question. So how you justify that? We justify that by giving the facts. So therefore, remembering the fact is important. In fact, I'll suggest you to write some of the points. You have to make your own notes. In that, you can just do it so you can remember it. Then the annual report. What is our mission, vision, and values? All of those. We'll discuss mission, vision, values in E3 in detail. Then the background of the board of directors. So what is board of directors and how it is worked? If some of you have not done P3 before, obviously we'll be starting it. So it will make more sense once we discuss that also. So after doing pre-scene, when we are doing P3, there is a chapter 5 called corporate governance. So when we do corporate governance, we might come back again here and compare it. Okay. So neither does the pre-scene nor does the individual subjects is like if you have finished, we don't need to revisit. We need to keep revisiting it in the class, and at the same time, you guys also need to keep revising it simultaneously. Then the responsibilities of the board committees. Principal risk is super important. Last week we were discussing about risk cycle. Did you remember? Any one of you? How we find the risk, then we keep reviewing it and do it again. I think Sham was there in the last
Yeah.
class.
Yeah, Misbah. That risk management cycle of CIMA.
Yes. So in that, what we said, we cannot find and put equal resources for all this risk. So we have to find the impact. Why we are finding the impact and likelihood to determine what are the principal risk. So these are the principles. However, we should not limit to this risk itself. We'll go beyond that. This pre-scene is also in a way is a starting point for our research and understanding. Now we have to take it to another level to understand in a better way. Trust me, if you understand the pre-scene perfectly, and obviously pre-scene understanding will require industry understanding. So I don't think this is any difficult paper. We understand the pre-scene properly, and we have good writing skills. Trust me, it should be fine. I've seen students who have uh, not even doing that E3, P3, F3 properly, but still they have been able to clear with good marks. Reason being, they have very good command on the pre-sheet. They can relate things easy. Will not find that shortcut, but I'm just saying, pre-sheet becomes most important, and every reading will give you new understanding. Therefore, like it's good to print, and maybe you can just print on one side. On the back side, you can make the notes. Sometimes it might be boring, just go through the same papers again and again, but it should be contributing you every time you read. Then we'll have financials. So financials usually they give for 2 years, last year and this year, 23 and 24. One change CIMA has done lately is previously they used to close the year in December. Even if you're writing, let's say in November, no, so they'll give you last December closing because this is how it works in UK. But now they are closing in September and some pre-scene they are closing in December. Why they are doing it? Because we should have a recent information. Imagine this thing have been closes in December itself. So which December it will be? December 2023. So we'll have information about December 23 and December 22. So in financials, even 1 month information is considered a late information. Even 1 week we do not consider because gone is gone. We are looking more on the current and the future. Therefore, to make it more relevant, they have brought it to 30 September. I don't know if any country is closing on their year on 30 September. Is there any country? Did you guys know who closed their year on 30 September?
No, Misbah.
Yeah, I also think there is no country
No,
as
there
far
are
as I know.
few. Yeah, so there are few these, right? What do you call those? Marwadi business in India. So where they open their books in Diwali.
Okay, so that's small business. Usually
Mm,
at because when you're following IFRS and all, you're looking international perspective definitely.
yeah.
So
Mm,
there is no such business, but I hope you understood the logic. Because if we say that our retained earnings was how much they are showing here, let's say the closing balance they are saying 2,252 million. So if it is in September, we can assume okay, we might have some of that in November. But imagine in December, that is 2023. And even imagine somebody is writing this exam in 25 February, which definitely a lot of students will write. So for them, the information will be almost like 14 months old. Financial information will be wrong. Therefore, they have changed the year. Divesh, are you back? I see you leaving and joining again and again. I think you have network
Yeah,
issue.
because I don't know, like for me, presentation is just coming and going. That's why
mm.
Did you join from laptop or mobile?
I tried by phone as well, with just showing your name. Now I'm again from laptop.
Try to join from both. Maybe
Okay.
at least one will be better.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, but the screen is frozen. It's still at page 4 for me. But I'm going through the one what I downloaded.
Yeah.
Yeah, same for me. The screen is not moving.
Screen is not moving. Okay, one
Yeah.
second. Now,
Now
Yeah,
I
Misbah.
can see. Can you just scroll down so we can see if you can scrolling down?
okay,
Yeah, now you can see moving. Yeah, thank you. Sorry for disturbance.
no problem. You should tell it. I didn't know it was frozen. You guys should have told me. Yeah. So this is what the retained earning I was referring to. 2252. Definitely, it will be so many months. Therefore, they have changed the closing year. It also gives us an idea that they are not testing us on calculation and everything. This is for the understanding, and simultaneously, why these numbers play a very very important role. Because every exam you will have questions related to finance. For example, one common trend I have seen over the years is they'll ask questions on acquisition, and the following question, at least in one variant, can be how to finance it. And obviously, if financing question comes, the first option can be looking at the retained earnings. But usually the expenditure can be higher, so we don't consider retained earnings, and we know retained earnings is not equal to cash. But if it is a smaller investment, definitely retained earnings can be used. Even if you look from our personal perspective, if you want to buy something small, and if you have retained earnings, we have some savings, so we'll try use that first rather than taking a loan and paying the interest on that. Then we obviously have financial position, or we call it like balance sheet, where we have asset and liabilities. Being into a business which requires a lot of machinery, so we need to have PP.
Misbah, you can't hear. Sorry. Hello.
Hello.
I was like, can hear you till where you mentioned about property, plant, and equipment.
Yeah. So what I was saying is, can you hear me now?
Yes, Misbah.
Yeah. So what I was trying to say is, some companies are going on asset light model. So what they do is they want to have less PP in the uh, asset size side. Technically, because it will require less capital investment or less one-time investment. So they will own it, but in the form of lease. And one of the example is airline industry. Usually they'll just buy on lease. I'm using the word buying on lease because it can be a finance lease. So again, we need to understand the difference between finance lease and operating lease. Clear with that point?
Yeah, Misbah. But Misbah, for companies like which are in mining and the soil exploration and all, right? So they will have a lot of investments in this property, plants, and equipments, right? So I just wanted, like, I was just thinking a lot. So, like, if they go for any leasing, so how will it work for them? Because they
Usually
want to
they
use
will
that
have.
asset for
That's
a
what
longer
I'm saying.
period of time, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with your point. They definitely need to have. And if you see here, our number is good. This is in million. That's 7,000 million. You can imagine. So we have
Mm-hmm.
a lot of that.
Yeah.
Secondly, when we say that we need for longer, so how finance lease, we'll discuss in detail later. Finance lease is not like we use for few years and give back. Usually, it can be a new machine itself, and you can use it for the entire lifetime of the asset. but the only benefit you are getting, or the most important benefit you are getting, is you have to pay it in a smaller payments. Let's say, for
Yep.
example, something was 1 million. Instead of paying 1 million at once, you might be paying 100,000 for 10 years. So what happened? You don't need to take a loan. Maybe just gave it from your profits. Wasn't that easier? Right? Did you understand the example?
Yeah, Misbah.
So that was more to do with uh, our finances, our cash flow issues.
Yep.
Then same thing. Yeah, one more thing in the pre-scene we'll notice is about the competitors. So sometimes it's just wondering why they are giving the competitors. So there are a couple of reasons behind that. One of the reason is we need to understand how our competition is doing. Direct competitors. They have used the word direct competitors. So what is direct competitor? What are other competitors? If I just clarify. So there are other direct competitors means companies who are doing a very similar business to us. Maybe it's just the brand which is different. If I want to give you examples, let's say Coke and Pepsi, Adidas and Nike, British Airlines, Emirates, BMW, Audi. So what are they? They are direct competitors. Even in direct competitors, they are using someone from their own country. Why they do that? Because it will help us to understand how the situation is there. Let's say if both the company is growing, so what we'll say? Oh, the industry is growing. If both are not growing, so it's going downturn. If one is growing and another one is not, so we can say it has become saturated. The only way to grow when the market becomes saturated is you have to take the market share from your competitor. But when the industry is growing, both can grow simultaneously. It's not like we have to take something from them. We have to take away their clients. Make sense this point?
Yes, Mr.
Yes, Misbah.
This is very, very important. And this is the time when they want to kind of decide when the market gets saturated. Let's say e-commerce market, if you talk from Indian perspective, it's still growing. So companies who are well settled, they are growing, like Amazon and all. Companies who have recently come, they are also growing because there have been a lot of demand, especially from the smaller towns, where they will not get that brands, or maybe they have to travel to a different town altogether to purchase a specific thing. Now they are getting delivered. All right. Therefore, competitor analysis is very important. We don't need to remember their finances. However, this will be good to compare. What was their revenue? What is our revenue? Year, and if you see, just for example, their revenue has kind of reduced. It was 10,000. It came down to 9,000. And if I just go back to our revenue has also gone down. So definitely there is a high chance there may be some common reason. You're trying to understand the link? We'll dig in deeper, but this is just understand. So one thing we can we have not gone in detail, but one thing we can just assume, at least for now, is there may be some external factor. Remember systematic and unsystematic risk in F3 we discussed. Systematic risk is something
Yes,
which
Misbah.
is what?
It's common.
Is common. Very good. Systematic risk is external risk which is common to the industry. So
Yes.
this may be because of the systematic risk they have lost the revenue, not because of unsystematic. If this was the case of unsystematic risk, which is individual to the business, then maybe they might have gone down, we might have gone up, or maybe one business would have gone up, another one would have retained the same, something like that, or one gone down, one remaining same. When both are going down, both are in the same industry, both are direct competitors, there may be something. If you talk about Coke and Pepsi, imagine both of their sales going down because people are becoming health conscious. So what they have done, they have started diet Pepsi. Why? Because it was a systematic risk, external factor. All right.
Misbah, one question here.
Sure.
If you scroll up, so why they have shown currency reserve as well separately? That- So I know it might be too early, but usually when we look at the financial statements, right? So this
Mhm.
part will not be shown separately, like currency reserve. So we'll have share capital, probably like retained earnings. So can
Yeah.
we
So
expect some questions related to this transaction risk, translation risk, and all?
yes. So there may be certain questions, and it can also give us an idea how we can manage the translation risk.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes what happen that instead of negative, it will be positive. We'll be adding on that.
Mm. Yeah,
So
but pretty much.
translation is actually something which is just on the book, but in reality, you are not
Mhm.
losing or gaining anything. That
Yes.
part is clear, right?
Yeah,
However,
Misbah, correct.
as a part of IFRS reporting standard, we have to take the closing rate. That's what IFRS says. We
Okay.
cannot take the average rate of the year. So sometime it will be a loss, sometime it will be a gain. And another thing is there is a high probability, I don't remember, but the previous our company also might have the loss because we are operating in the same. If you see,
Yeah, Misbah. Yes, but
two plus
translation loss is high in Rotomyne compared to its competitor.
yes, but they both have loss. So
Mm.
again, this
Yep.
gives an idea that they have the same systematic risk because they are operating in the same market. Then obviously the balance sheet financial position. Here their PPE has gone up, property, plant and equipment. Intangibles are very important in this business as well. So this is some kind of business where tangible and intangible both are very important. Like we discussed business valuation, we are talking about, where the industry is in service, cash flow based, earning based is good. When it is manufacturing, maybe asset based. But here we need to know both are very important because the biggest challenge here is the license, and license is something which is intangible. Everybody is following the class. Sohail and Nikhil, you guys are very silent. Even Megha. Sohail, are you following? Megha?
Yes, Mr. Yes, Mr.
Okay. Nikhil, please
Yes,
stop me
Misbah,
if
I'm
you have
here. Yeah.
anything. Yeah.
No, I'm just listening to you.
Okay. Thank you. So Rotomyne share price. There has been so many. This will be very interesting to discuss. There has been sudden jump, gone up, and unfortunately, we are on the downward trend. Technically, it should be upward. Small fluctuation is fine. So we have got another hint for your exam. What? Share price related question.
Yes, sir. So beta is high, right? 1.63. So that's
It's
what. So
super
the
high.
systematic risk is high. So as such, the share price is reflecting.
This is, I would say, maybe this is the first or second time I have seen such a high level of beta. Because in the previous one, it was zero point 0.8 or sometimes it's 1.2. So whatever is zero point and extra now, that is like that much percentage. So 1.63 means 63% more risky. So definitely when the business is so high risk, the shareholders will expect, the investor will expect high return. I don't know how much dividend we are giving. This is too early, but quickly if I see there, this company has given a very good dividend, because when the risk is higher you have to keep them happy. So we have given a very big amount of our profit as a dividend. Out of 1800, around that we have paid 1600. We had just 200 left. So that may be one of the reason. Because how shareholders earn, how an investor earn, the simple logic, through two ways. One is dividend, second is share price. And it feels like we are lacking behind in the share price. What may be the reason? So another thing, when we are doing industry research, if you can get access, some of the companies might be listed, to see their share price, what is happening with their share price, or if not the share price, at least we can get an idea. I am assuming this may be due to the geopolitical issues. Though CIMA will say that, in the context, don't assume that in your writing, but they kind of reflect that. Because previously we have a pre-scene where the share price was going good, the profits were going good. Suddenly, for the year of 2020 and 2021, they went down. Then again, it was going up. So indirectly, they were referring to the pandemic and the lockdown. I think if that was related to logistics or something. So obviously, in lockdown means no logistics. Then we have a news stories. Basically, there was only news stories, but they have now added this comic or reader question part. So this is a very smart way to give us extra information. So they'll just put some children, 10 years, 6 years, they're asking some basic question, how things work. So we have to go and understand it. A lot of times we might know what they're talking about. However, this can give a starting point to do some research. Like we just said in the start, when we are working at a senior level, we need to have a decent knowledge about the industry. So when I say decent knowledge, here we need to understand how the battery operates, maybe a little bit of biological effect, little bit of chemistry, little bit basic level. What materials we are using, especially with the recycling. And now the digital consumption has gone up, hardware, software, everything. What is the future expectation? How the industry will change? What new disruptions can come in? Are we the change maker or we are just following? What is happening in the universities? Like geologists can be very important here. So tying up with the universities can be very important in terms of research and everything. Then the actual news article.
Misbah,
Yes, Megha.
this news story, from that we have to identify that information which is related to our company.
You're saying this for Portland, this telegraph page or the previous one? The previous page or this page?
The whole thing, the whole information given in news story.
In the okay. So firstly, whatever is given here, Mega, is directly relevant to our business. Okay. However, one thing is, these are all external people. They are not internal, or we can say connected, but mostly they are external to the business. So whenever something external happen, we have to analyze. It can fall into two major categories. What are they? Either it will be a threat, either it will be an opportunity. Because when we do internal analysis, we can classify either it's a strength, it's a weakness. So same thing, when we do external, it can be strength, or it can be, it can be a threat, it can be a opportunity.
Okay.
For example, here OT is the new threat vector. They've mentioned that directly that's a threat. So we need to understand, analyze the news and say, okay, is it threat or is it opportunity? So opportunity. So you plan your business in such a way that we utilize this opportunity and earn profit for the business, grow our business. If it is a threat, what we'll do? We'll do risk management. We'll try to reduce the effect of threat on our business.
Okay, yeah, got it.
Then we have another one, scientists debate battery storage options. Sometimes what happens, everything is going good, but some scientist is coming and saying that, this is not sustainable and all of those. So the share price can get affected, the company's reputation can affected. I'll tell you one very good part. It's a little funny also. We have a case study for management now, MCS. So what our company is doing is we are manufacturing windows. And if you have noticed now in a lot of corporate office, we have this windows. Usually it is double glaze. We have two glass windows and there is a small gap in between. If you have noticed, right? If not, you can notice nowadays. So why they do it? Saying that it is more environmental friendly because it will control the temperature. Let's say you are staying in a country where it's very cold or it's hot. So this thing will be a advantage for us. And environmentally it's friendly. They are selling in such a way. However, a lot of scientists and people did research and they went back. They realized that usually how this glass is made is because of sand, right? Raw material is sand. So while manufacturing of this, they end up doing so much of environmental ill effect or maybe so much of pollution that the entire lifetime of the window, that much you are not recovering. So it's like you're spending $100 here to save $10 here, and you're marketing your company saying, okay, we are saving $10 for you. But technically, in saving of that or manufacturing of that, we are ending up spending $100. I'm just giving you, or let's say 100 points, 10 points. We can use any words. You're getting the example. So that news article was a very bad reputation, not only for our business, but the entire industry. Because we are selling like this, but what we are doing in manufacturing. So it was even better. We use the traditional windows. And at least don't sell it saying that, it is good for environment. Because nowadays the client, the stakeholder, everybody is very clever. And it's very easy. It's not even Google now. We have Chat GPT. We have smart things. AI is there. They'll get everything. Okay. So things like this will affect the reputation of the business. The same thing we have to look here. I hope you can relate the example. Like here also they must be saying, because the batteries are too expensive for this purpose. Cost and benefit analysis is very important. One of the very important reason why still, we have seen in developing countries, even in developed countries, the plastic usage has not reduced. Because the alternative is very expensive. If you go to a market, if you want to buy a cloth bag, it will be expensive. So a lot of people, especially in the cost conscious market, they will not pay, or majority of them not pay. Let's be realistic. Despite being environmental friendly, shall we pay or not? It's good to pay, but do we pay? Even if you look at in our society where we operate, whichever part of the world we are, it's uncommon that people are paying for that. And companies don't want to give it for free because it's expensive. Or maybe they'll give paper back. Okay, are you able to relate that? Try to relate all this to the real world, so you will not have to remember and learn things, and you'll enjoy the case study, you'll enjoy the research. Then next one is carriers geologists are in demand. So what is that? Is it an opportunity or threat? So basically this thing is sorry, somebody want to say? Mega, you're saying something?
I'm just saying that it is a opportunity that there is a demand for geology.
It can be an opportunity or maybe a threat also. Threat in the sense is these are the people who we employ. These are employees. So if there is high demand for your employees, they'll ask more money. They'll ask more remuneration.
Okay, from
Business perspective. So it can be a threat. We might have less people. Let's say if you need you are starting a new plant, you need 500 more geologists or 100 more geologists, then because how the market works, the price usually is decided by the market based on the demand and the supply. So the demand is high means the supply has reduced, or supply is not able to cater the demand. So we have to give more incentives and everything to retain. If managed, this can be an opportunity, but in general terms, it just look like it can be a threat. Okay. So any questions on this now?
No, no.
So this is how the pre-scene should be read. Why I have taken you through all this is will not finish the entire pre-scene in one session. In fact, this week itself will not finish. So during the weekdays or during the days when we don't have class, so you have to keep reading the next pages which we have not discussed in detail. Therefore, I just want to give you an perspective. So now we can start from the start. So let's start with the introduction now. Rotomyne is a quoted company. Okay, so we have to just break in the words and go in detail. Rotomyne is a quoted company that mines lithium for sale to manufacturers, which then use the metal in the manufacture of various products, including rechargeable batteries. In fact, rechargeable batteries is one of the major areas where lithium ion is used. But anyways, we have to break it down. The first thing is it's a quoted company. What do you mean by quoted company? It's a listed business. Listed means where we are taking money. The shareholders, the owners are the normal public. So straight away our mind should go that what are the advantage and disadvantage of being a listed company. I think we discussed that also in F3. Can all of you tell me one advantage and disadvantage of a listed company?
Listed companies, we can get more capital issuing the shares. And the disadvantage is there's the compliance. You need to fulfill the lot of compliance and rule and regulation.
Very good. Others, please don't try repeat the same point. If you want, you can think and tell. No rush.
It's more transparent.
Sorry, Nikhil.
So they are like liable to show all the documents, all the financial transaction.
Nikhil, it's not clear. Can you explain?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, it's more like transparent.
More transparent. Okay, okay.
More transparent to show all the documents, and they have to show more. They have to show more. They have to be.
So when you say
like
transparent, you are saying this is an advantage and
the
disadvantage.
morale will be increased.
You are saying from which perspective? You are seeing this as an advantage or disadvantage? Being transparent.
I'm seeing as an advantage.
Advantage. So if you're transparent, you'll have more credibility and more trust in the market. That's what you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, they have to. The company have to show that. Then only they will get more shares, right?
Yeah, then only they can raise capital.
Then only they can increase the share price and everything also. The credibility is important, right?
Yeah, and what can be the disadvantage?
I have to think.
This question might sound you very simple why I'm asking this maybe, but this is not only important for our business, but you need to be very clear with the advantage, because when you acquire business, because acquisition is a common question. I've seen in the exam where you have two options to acquire. One is a listed company, another one is unlisted. So you should know straight away what are the pros. And again, advantage disadvantage should not be just generalized, it should be specific to the business. For example, if we are acquiring certain business in this industry where mining is done, the biggest problem in mining is what? Getting a license. So just to get a license, it makes sense to mine. But if you are into a different industry where license doesn't matter much, we will not acquire for the license, we might acquire for the assets or different thing.
All right.
Yeah. So what is the disadvantage?
So disadvantage, like, if you're in a market, the people have eye on you. So whatever you doing in a, the fluctuations happening might, people, there is a chance to people think, overthink, and, sell shares, rumors happens. So these are the disadvantages, I feel.
Okay, so same thing, what you have said, the transparency, that is also leading to the disadvantage. I got
Yeah.
your point. And we have an example in our share price. So lately, our share price is going down. Isn't it? Okay, next, please.
Misbah, if the company's reputation and what to say the future prospects of the company is good, then it will show up in the reflect in the share price, right? So thereby the valuation of the company will
How,
be
how,
high.
how how it will, how people will know their future prospect is good? How they'll know the future?
Hmm. Future perspective through so in the annual reports, right? So they will mention like what is the strategic plan. So everything will be mentioned there in the financial statement, right? And say example, if we take this lithium ion as well, right? So there is huge demand for lithium batteries, given that there is good demand for electric vehicles in say the emerging markets at least, right? So somebody who like to invest in say who do not want to invest directly in the electric vehicles, right? And then if they're looking for some related markets, right, so they can invest here as well in these kind of companies who are into the mining, right? So whenever this demand for electric vehicle goes up, the demand for the batteries will also go up, thereby the demand for the materials, right, so it will also go up. So that's how it's linked. So that's how they think that the share price will increase in the future.
So that's the advantage of listed company, you're saying. But
Yes,
unlisted companies can also do that.
unlisted companies can also do that, but the benefit over here will be right, so it will be like real time reflection of whatever happening, right? Means you can easily find out the valuation of your company when it is listed than the unlisted companies, right? So in unlisted companies usually we do the comparison with the listed, and then we will discount it by 25 to 30%, right? But here straight away you will get to know the valuation of your company.
Okay. So
Yeah.
something similar to transparency, but you have added
Mm.
another point. Good. What is the
Mhm.
disadvantage? Try to
Uh,
give something which
mm,
is, from this
mm,
industry. I know it's still very new, but
mhm.
just try. Others also you can keep thinking. Those who have next. Yeah, Sam. Continue.
Okay. So disadvantage would be Misbah for the owner, right? So he will have to give up few of his shares to the public, right? So whenever they go for the listing, right, though he make good money, so once the company gets listed, say example like all these companies now, the Ola got listed, right? So overnight, so they become like millionaire. But to go to that public, right? So they will have to give up few of their shareholdings as well. They have to dilute their shareholding. And other disadvantage would be there will be always chances that a competitor may also try to buy some shares in this company as well. So that can also be possible.
Okay. So basically, dilution and all, I mean, we can say as a disadvantage, but that is already in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe a better way to frame this can be dilution of control. A listed
Yeah,
company
correct.
doesn't have a proper control. If it is unlisted company, usually small shareholders, quicker decision making.
Yes.
But when it's listed, you have a lot of
Mm.
scrutiny, a lot of policy, a lot of formality. Decision can be late, and maybe a good
Yes.
decision will become a bad decision. Why? Because we are taking it late. We're not on time.
Mhm. Yeah, and there will be more pressure, say, from the institutional investors, right? So they will always try to influence the business decisions, and then every time you have to take the approval from all of your the main shareholders, right, to pass any resolutions. So that's how the decision making will become. I would say it will become time consuming. Can't be quicker.
Yeah. Okay. Good point. So this applies for our company also, and it applies for the company we are acquiring. So one quick hint: usually this kind of companies who license or maybe with the technology, they try to go for the startups, because startups, they take quicker decisions, and usually startups in technology can only survive when they're bringing in something new, when they have the capability of disrupting the current business, or at least adding a very good amount of value to the current business or current ecosystem. And startup are unlisted, so it's cheap to buy. Anyways, I hope I'm not confusing you by bringing in acquisition question, but I'm just saying that when we talk about advantage disadvantage, we are not only thinking about our business, we are also thinking about their business. In fact, there was one question: the very rare probability that we want to go for unlisting. So there is a probability that we can become a private company, or sometimes government can come and acquire our business. Government say, this kind of industry we don't want to privatize. We just want this to be controlled by the government. Like we have railways in India. A lot of industries in different countries actually control, or at least majority of the industry is controlled by the government. So when government comes in, the entire thing changes. Anyways, yeah. Next, please. I think Divesh, Megha, Sohail, are you there, guys?
Yeah.
Hello.
I have disadvantages. Advantages, I guess most of them are covered. So
So you
one
have to give both.
disadvantage.
You have to think
Okay.
and give both.
But I have first disadvantages like the cost intensive, because we need to pay dividend. It's not deduct from tax, so we need to pay tax, and after we need to pay dividend, so it's taxable. This is the one disadvantages. Another disadvantages by listing is we might able to take on over hostile taking over situations where our competitor will try to buy more than 50 or 60% of share from public, and they try to acquire our company or just taking over. And advantage will be, there will be many advantage like transparencies and all, where but there is also like a compliance rules, like, so it's also going to be disadvantage some point where company need to show many datas and all, and sometimes company don't want to show because it's confidential and their competitor can try to match it with them as well.
I think it's a little bit similar to what Nikhil was saying.
Yeah.
Disadvantage.
Yes.
There can be so many disadvantages. Why you're just limiting it to the information? Try to think beyond that. And one more thing is, uh, the first disadvantage, you are saying that you have to pay dividend. So do you mean to say that if you're unlisted, you don't need to pay dividends? So just for clarity, unlisted companies also have shareholders. It's not only one owner or one family. It can be hundreds and thousands of people. unlisted companies also have shareholding. So why you think listed companies are disadvantaged, Divesh?
I don't know. I need to think again. Sorry, I might get confused.
So, Misbah, the advantage is that if a company is a listed one, the integrity of information given by the company, means data or information, whatever given in annual report, is high. Integration of
Okay.
information. Based on that, like for example, creditor can, based on that information, company can get uh, credits from the creditors, and if they are able to raise a loan from the bank, also easier for listed company if they want to raise loan from the bank, so
Okay.
it is easier for them. And if it is a listed company, then from the shareholder perspective, means company will able to raise finance through shares easily as compared to unlisted company. uh,
So
Disadvantages.
basically, this advantage is similar to raising capital. But one good point you said is when the information is passed or anything is done, they will have more trustworthiness.
Yeah, and means public will get this information on time, like there is a bound on the company to publish their financial information on time
Yeah,
with
time bound.
accuracy. Yeah, time bound and with accuracy. So based on that, even company will get a benefit from that, and the public also trust on that company. Means listed company mostly give the integrated information, because there are lots of regulatory bodies there who uh, keep eye on all this information. So public have more trust on a listed company as compared to unlisted company.
Okay. I'll come to disadvantage to you. But I think, Sham, you want to add something? You have raised your hands.
Yeah, Miss, regarding the dividend, right? So the shareholders, so they will look at mainly the dividend paid and then the appreciation of the share price. So whenever the company pays more dividend, right, then it will reflect in the share price itself, right? So I was thinking of that link between dividend and uh, what is it, advantage.
Yeah, we can think of some link. But the problem is, according to certain theories, they believe, let's say, dividend valuation model. So what they say
Mm-hmm.
is, if you pay more dividend, you'll have less money to reinvest, because they assume
Yes.
that we are raising money only through
Mm-hmm.
profits. We cannot have access to debt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So even in this current case, right? So these companies, I think, not sure about the competitor, but at least the Rotomyne, so they are paying very high dividend and they are having very less retained earnings. Right. So that means they are not going to
Yeah.
invest too much in the future. So otherwise, that is one thing. Otherwise, they want to balance out their share price by giving more dividend, right? So usually what happens is, so whenever company want to announce the dividend, right, so they will have that certain cutoff date for that, right, that X dividend price. I don't like remember it properly, but usually during that time, so there will be huge demand for the shares, and the share price will say it will increase at least during that period of time when before to get the dividend benefits. So that's what I think they might be, in this case, they might be trying to improve their share price by giving out very high dividends.
Yeah. Yes, that may be something. So we can relate it to that. Okay. Uh, Mega, what is the disadvantage? Quickly, please.
Disadvantage is disadvantage is that when a company is listed, they have to follow the rules and regulations for each and every decision which they have to take. They have to follow some rules and regulations, due to which there might be delay in their action.
Okay. So more rules and regulations discussed, but you have added one good point. There can be delay in their actions. Can you just explain that? Why it will be delay and how it will be? Any example coming to your mind?
For example, if we want to acquire some if we want to acquire one company and it is a listed one, then we have to follow all the rules and regulation of when we are acquiring a company which is a quoted one, listed one. We have to follow the all rules and regulations and paperwork, which delay
Mhm.
our business activity. After acquiring that company, we have to perform some business activity. Suppose we want to uh, increase our market share, and we know within this time limit there is a demand, and we, if we are not able to do all these things in that time limit, then demand for that product will be reduced. So due to this all this paperwork, the action will delay, and which will impact our business.
Good example. Especially when you're acquiring,
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point. Okay. So, Hel,
Hello.
yeah, I can hear you.
Uh, One advantage I can think of is of listing of if a company is listed, meaning it's on the stock market, so the people view it as a higher valued company compared to being unlisted, because everything is made public, the accounts and everything of the company.
All right. That's good point, Sohail, but it's repeated. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Go beyond that. Why you're just coming everyone to, goodwill and everything. Okay. I'll give you one advantage. You can get more credit period from the supplier, because supplier will say, okay, it's a listed company, I'll give you more credit. Or you can get more discount from the supplier. You can get better sales because the trust factor can be higher. You can get easier loan. We have discussed about capital, but uh, maybe it's more about equity, but even in loan, that will be better. You'll get access to higher or capable employees. For example, now geologists are in demand. So they might be happy to work for a listed company because usually they are sustainable compared to other businesses. Think about the stakeholders. Sorry. Yeah, go on. Somebody want to add something? Hello? Okay. Yes, Soil. Anything else you want to add? Think about the stakeholder, how it will affect them, advantage or disadvantage, or how it will affect us in dealing with the stakeholder. Think like a CEO of a listed company, then think like a CEO of an unlisted company.
One disadvantage that I can think of is if a company is being taken over and the shares have been low performing, it will be difficult for them to get a higher value for the business.
Advertising cost of, sorry.
We'll come to that. Good point, Mega. So, can you explain that example? What do you mean by that?
For
For example,
okay, well, sorry.
for
Sohail, you go
example,
first. Yeah.
for example, a company has just published its results, and the share price and performance has been low compared to the previous years. So they'll be easily, they can be easily, a company can easily take over them as the results have been poor.
Good point. So there is one group in India, Mittal Group. I think they have their operations in Africa and it's global now. So one of their success strategy, what I found out during my research was they used to do a lot of acquisition. And how they do acquisition, because uh, they look for companies who are performing bad. So sometimes what happens, listed companies, when they perform bad, it becomes public. So a lot of people, they come in and try to acquire them. So this how being listed will become a disadvantage, that you will get a lot of bid to buy off your company. Maybe we are not interested in that. Remember, we discussed something like this in last chapter of F3, hostile takeover. So when the company is not performing good, or even sometimes it performs good also, there is a risk of hostile takeover. Takeover is not bad, they can earn profit, but if they're not interested, it becomes hostile. That means forceful. So that is also a disadvantage. Good point. Yes, Mega, you wanted to add something?
Means when you are acquired some business and during growth stage you have to do lots of expense, advertising expense. So in case of listing company, as compared to unlisted company, advertising cost will be less for the listed company.
Yeah, advertising cost will be less. Yeah, good point. Okay, so don't stop on this. Once the session is done, please spend some more time on this point, advantage, advantage. You can even obviously do research online as well. What will be specific advantage and disadvantage of this particular industry? So you'll get a better idea on that. I just wanted to give you an start of that. Okay, moving on. Rotomyne is a coded company that mines lithium. Okay, so what is lithium? Basically, it's an element. We'll go into that also. I'm thinking to discuss that with a video, so that will be better for understanding. Okay, now for sale to manufacturers. So basically, there are two things. Okay, some companies will only mine, and some companies will mine, sell, pack, manufacture, because the entire supply chain, isn't it? Like one of you are mentioning, if the demands for electric vehicle goes up, this will also go up. So it's not like electric vehicles mine themselves. So there will be a lot of players. So Rotomyne is mining, then somebody who is maybe somebody is in the sales, some other company who just work as an intermediary. Then there are companies who are buying from them and manufacturing them, and that manufacturers are also not the car manufacturers or the end manufacturers, they are just battery manufacturers. And from that battery manufacturers, it will go to the vehicles, or maybe whatever is the end material they are making, goods they are making, electronic goods mostly. So we need to understand the entire supply chain of that. And most of that was there in the video I shared. It's better if you have seen it also, just go through it once, or once you see that, you will get a lot of similar videos on that. Then moving on, which then use the metal in the manufacture for various products, including rechargeable batteries. So now it comes to the same point what we discussed. As individual also we have to understand what is our role, and as a business also we have to understand what role I am playing in the industry, in the ecosystem. For example, maybe this is a common example but very good. Who is manufacturing a lot of materials for Apple, the hardware at a large scale? Who is that company? You know that?
Is it Foxconn?
Foxconn is they have outsourced some of that. Okay, it's their rival company
Samsung.
only. Samsung,
Samsung.
yeah. Yeah. So Samsung is the one. So if Apple is selling the product, Samsung is also earning the profit, though they are the competitors, but that's just on the outside. This is how the inside they all are operating. So we need to understand what is our role play. For example, now the biggest challenge. For example, I also have an electric scooter. What the biggest challenge I am facing is the battery. It will go for like 12 miles, around 15 to 20 kilometers, right? Whatever the exact conversion is. But I have to charge for 4 to 5 hours. And imagine if the battery is finished on the road, then you have to come all the way walking or pushing it. And you cannot charge, it takes so much of time. The biggest challenge is how much time it is taking. So one example we can take here is Tesla. Tesla is working on, they have used it super batteries or some word they have used it. So they want something which is like hundreds of times more powerful than this. So basically, lithium ion is just a raw material. Now it also depends on the manufacturer, what technology they are adding on that by using the same material, or is there an alternative raw material which can be used. Which can improve the effectiveness. So EV is in demand, but the only problem is the battery charging. I think recently BMW has launched one bike, and where they were referring to that bike can go 0 to, I think it was 100 or 80 kilometers per hour in just 3 seconds. And if I'm not wrong, it's an electronic bike, electrical bike. So lot of changes can be done from the manufacturers. Okay, moving on. You are a senior manager in Rotomyne's finance
Misbah,
function. Yeah.
Misbah, sorry, one question. So here it says that the metal in the manufacture of various products, including rechargeable batteries. So that means, do we need to also look into um, what are the other uses of lithium, just to understand the impact?
Yes, you need to. Therefore, I am thinking to send you a video, or maybe in tomorrow's session, we'll look at one video,
Mhm.
and
Okay.
that will be a better way to understand.
Yeah. Okay.
There may be, hundreds of uses, if not thousands. But we need to look at the major things, 5, 6, 7, whatever it is.
Hmm. Okay.
Then you are a senior manager in Rotomyne's finance function. So senior manager, what is the role of senior manager? For this, I will share you CIMA SCS blueprint, where I'll highlight the page number also, where they have given the role of senior manager. Like I can make decisions, I can manage team, I can do change management, I can recommend risk mitigation strategies. That you need to know. Then you report directly to the board and advise on special projects and strategic matters. So special project is something which is we are doing for the first time, something which is extra, And strategy matter is normal operations. Normal operations like with the remuneration, dealing with the stakeholders, suppliers, businesses. Like we are B2B, so our clients are also businesses. Understanding them. One more thing you guys can say in advantage of a listed company is like we are listed, so dealing with other listed companies will be easier. Why? Because we understand. We'll also have suppliers, so we know that what are the criteria for them to make decisions. Then Rotomyne's head office is located in Portland, a developed country that has an active and well-regulated stock exchange. So being a developed country will have its own advantage. Like more taxes can be disadvantage. Advantage can be better infrastructure. Disadvantage can be environmental laws. Advantage can be better skill employees. Are you getting the point? In the real world, everything, whatever decisions we are taking, will have some pros and cons. So think from that perspective. You're getting the point? Then active well-regulated stock exchange means obviously the compliance and everything is strict. Then Poland's currency is the P dollar. We don't need to worry how much is the P dollar because there is no calculation, but we can assume it's something like a US dollar. But they won't ask a calculation question. Poland requires companies to prepare their financial statements in accordance with IFRS. So again, doing IFRS will have a lot of advantages for us. That everybody is following IFRS, easy to compare. It can help in merger. It can help in acquisition. It can help in lot of other areas also. For example, if we are a listed company, if we are using IFRS, so that will be easier for us to compare to other companies who are using IFRS. Imagine we are using different accounting standards, so it will be difficult for us to compare. Then Rotomyne owns and operates lithium mines in 6 countries, so we are an international business. So we need to again think of what are the advantage and disadvantage of us operating international business. What are the risk factors coming in? Again, translation risk, transaction risk, growth opportunities, product development, market development. So do this research for now on this and go through that again. Focus on this itself because this first para itself is super important. Because if you understood the introduction, we know from which lens we need to see the entire pre-scene. Then tomorrow we can continue with that. Is that okay?
Yeah, okay.
Yes, Mr.
All right then. If there is anything, you just message me. I have to immediately start another